from the USA. I'm joined by the former WDF World Cup, one of the newest PDC tour card holders, Alan Soutar. Thanks for the time, Alan. How are you doing?
Hi, Alex. I'm good, thanks. Really good.
Well, lots to discuss about your year so far, but let's rewind back to the start for you in darts. What are your earliest memories of darts? Be it watching, playing, or both?
A bit of both, to be honest. My grandparents owned a pub in my local town since I was a small kid, so I remember playing darts at a young age in the bar. But yeah, also watching Lakeside, watching all the Scottish guys at Lakeside. So I was born in '78, so early memories of the early '80s, mid '80s, watching Jockey Wilson and guys like that at Lakeside was probably the first I can remember being sort of into darts and getting the bug.
I read an interview you did recently with Courier this morning, and it said about how you spent over 20 years working in the armed forces. I'm assuming darts took a back seat during that time, or did you manage to play much at all then?
Yeah, it did take a back seat because obviously I was away abroad and on operations quite a bit. But anytime I was home, I would play darts still in the local teams in the Monday night league and things. But yeah, it did take a back seat for a few years.
For a lot of darts fans, the first time they would have got a closer look at you would have been at Lakeside in 2011, just before you turned 33. What was that goal of qualifying for the BDO Worlds always there for you?
Yeah, I think I played in the qualifiers quite a few times before that. I never done the circuit. I didn't do any travel or tournaments, so I maybe treated it more as a hobby then. So to go to the Lakeside qualifiers was always a yearly event to try and qualify, but it was so hard. And to get there in 2011 was pretty special. So yeah, that was a sort of ticked off the bucket list to appear at Lakeside in the World Championships in the BDO. Yeah, really good.
Fast forward 2 years and you're in Canada for the WTF World Cup in 2013. You lose out in the quarterfinals to the pairs and the singles 5-4 to Stephen Bunting, but you come away with the men's team title for Scotland. How special was that? Yeah,
it's still the most special moment in darts for me, and probably for Ross, Gary and Craig as well. Ross has had a lot of success himself individually in the BDO and WDF, but yeah, to win a World Cup gold medal for your country, and especially for Scotland, it's a very special moment, and I don't think there'll be many times in my career that will trump that moment. Possibly looking forward, there could be some amazing moments, but yeah, that's something that will always stay with me and be a special time.
You made another appearance at Lakeside in 2016, and to date that was your last World Championship appearance, and few would back against you making a third, but in a different organisation, PDC. If we'd have said this time last year you would be a PDC tour card holder and in a provisional spot for the World Championship, what would you have said?
I'd just say you're crazy and it's a bit early to be drinking. Do you know what? I didn't. This has all came out of the blue. Yeah, I played at Lakeside twice and that was amazing. Didn't really get the result that I thought I could get, but Q school and now maybe dedicating myself a little bit more to darts rather than organising and just being a bit part player. I think maybe I can set my sights a little bit higher, and Ali Pali is an achievable goal now with a good start I've already had. So I just need to keep the foot down, keep the head down and just keep going, and hopefully come December I'll be lining up in a different World Championships for me. But if you're going to be a dart player and you've played at Lakeside, the only other World Championships that you really want to play in is the Ali Pali. So that would be a pretty special moment for me and my family. It'd be great.
Definitely. Well, it was late November last year. You're unveiled as a new signing with the Big Five sports management team, and they confirmed that you'll be going to Q School for the first time in February of this year. It's been a difficult year getting events on underneath the PDC level during this pandemic, but what was the main thing that persuaded you to give the PDC a go?
Yeah, but the pandemic's 100%, not 100%, but the majority of the thinking behind it was that there is no darts. There has been no darts apart from the PDC have managed to create these bubbles and create events out of pretty much nothing. And yeah, when you're at events, the bubble is a thing, and it's quite a hard existence. You know, you can't go out of the hotel, you can't go anywhere. Like Germany just past there was really tough. I think people back home think you may be away and you're enjoying yourself at darts, but it was really tough being isolated in the hotel and in your room, and you're in your room by yourself. So that was quite tough. But I think to go back to the start there, Big Five, Paul and Steve, right from the very start of being like, you couldn't get anybody more supportive. And I think the way that they talk about me and the way they talk to me is just incredible. And I think that was probably one of the catalysts for me saying, yeah, let's go and have a go, because I've known Paul quite a while, and he's a good guy. So I know he has my best interests at heart. So he's into darts. He's a bit of a stat-o, a bit like me. So it works both ways. So it's been really good, that.
Turning up to Milton Keynes to play in your first Q School in February, was that your first taste of any PDC tournament, or have you played any of the Riley's qualifiers or anything like that before?
Nah, I never really played in anything PDC before. I think I played in the UK Open qualifiers way back before it was even the Riley's thing. It was sort of qualifier for a qualifier sort of event, but it wasn't really the UK Open as it's known now. So, yeah, the first taste of any sort of the proper setup and that. Obviously, I'm a dart fan, so I've kept an eye on things over the last few years and watched how people have been doing and things. So, yeah, it was an eye-opener. It was something different for me, but it's, at the end of the day, it's still darts. It's still totally hockey, 1v1, and give it your best.
We were following your results at Q School, and we thought you were at Wimbledon on that first day of Stage 1B. 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, your first 3 games. You come through on day 1. What were those 2 days off in between like before coming back for the final stage?
Yeah, again, it was weird. 6-0, 6-0. You know what? It just sometimes the draw goes in your favour, and sometimes you play some of your best darts against guys that maybe aren't at the same level. So 6-0 is maybe a bit flattering in some of those games. But yeah, I think to get through straight away the first day to the last one to 80 Q School was a good thing for me, because it kind of put me at ease a bit, and I thought it's maybe not as hard, or maybe my level's high enough to play at this level. So yeah, that was good. And the 2 days, obviously you're in the bubble, so there's nothing to do. There's nowhere to go. So it was just practice in the room. So that's another good side of it. You didn't get distracted by anything. You were just there for darts, and I put a couple of days practicing on the board, and obviously once Q School came round a couple of days later, I was ready to go.
Well, it all paid off. A good run on day 1, making the last 16. The second day, you make it to the final. You're 4-2 up on Jason Heaven. He runs off 4 legs, including that 1-2-3 to win it, with you waiting on 44 to force the decider. So how were you feeling going back to your hotel room after that one?
Yeah, I had to go and brush my teeth because I had a bit of sick in my mouth after he checked out in that last leg. No, fair play to Jace. He played really well in the last few legs. But I think it happened a couple of times. I was 4-2 up and then lost those matches. So it's something that I've been looking at the last couple of months since I've had my card. And when I get in a position when I'm in the lead, it's trying to close these matches out. But yeah, going back to the hotel room that night, we obviously sat down, and Paul spoke to me. He basically told me, you've got a card. You know, to have 7 points by then was more than enough when you looked at how it was shaping up. So I kind of took the pressure off the last 2 days, and it wasn't that important because we knew without automatic qualification I was still going to get a tour card. So yeah, it was a cool feeling and a good buzz, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. You've done more than enough. The first couple of days, you end up finishing 6th on that UK Q School Order Merit to get your tour card. And usually there's a 3-week break between Q School and the first lot of Pro Tours. This year, only 8 days between the last day of Q School and the start of the first Super Series. Do you think that helped you having a short break and being able to carry that momentum from Q School with you?
Yeah, definitely. If you think about the other guys that have already had their tour card, they weren't playing any darts. So I think to hit the ground running in the first couple of Pro Tours was quite important for me. I was just worried about not being able to fit in at that level, but obviously started off really well. And I think going from Q School, and you basically 10 days of darts, a couple of days off, and then straight back to it. So yeah, I think that definitely helped. It would have helped all the players coming from Q School, and I think you've seen that in the results the first couple of days in the first Pro Tour, because a lot of the guys from Q School were doing all right.
Well, it's fair to say that you've settled in pretty well to life on the PDC Tour. Your first 3 wins were against Adrian Lewis, Dave Chisnall and Peter Wright. You picked up just under $5,000 from that first week, 96 average for the week, and the players that beat you, the combined average was 99 across those 4 days. So what did you take away from that first taste of the Pro Tour?
I think I took away that I can live at that level. I think that's the main thing. You know, I've known for a few years that I can live at basically a 90 to 99 average. That's where I sit most of my matches, most of my stuff in the BDO and for Scotland and for my county was 30 plus averages. So when you equate that to the PDC, it's 90 plus. So yeah, that just gave me a bit of confidence. And I think I'm 43 years old, so I'm not starstruck. I'm trying to think of the right words to say here. I'm not fazed by playing the big guns, the top 16 or the top 32. It doesn't faze me playing these guys. It's a game of darts, and if I put in a 90 plus average, they're going to have to play at their best to beat me. So yeah, I think it gave me a good taste of the level, and I now know that I need to maintain. A 93 is a good average, but sometimes it's not good enough. So I think that's the only thing I can take from it so far, is that you have to be on your match every single time, otherwise you're going home or you're going out.
Absolutely. Well, a few weeks later, you make your debut in your first PDC major at the UK Open, and you catch the eye again. A run to the last 16, wins over Barney, Stephen Bunting on the way, and I believe your biggest payday in darts, $7,500. You must be pleased with how so far you've taken to every challenge thrown at you in the PDC.
Yeah, it was a good event. Because it was back in Milton Keynes as well. You're kind of comfortable. You're comfortable with the hotel, the surroundings, the bubble, how it all works. So I can adapt to things like that pretty quick. So it felt comfortable, and not having a crowd. I've talked about this quite a few times. I think not having a crowd probably helped me, because I could just concentrate on the darts. Yes, it was on the main stage on TV, but it's just like playing on a streaming board, I suppose. It's just like playing on any sort of live feed game. It didn't really bother me, so it was good to beat Barney. That's probably another highlight of my career, to beat Barney. Although he's just coming back and I've just got my tour card, he's a bit of an icon in darts, and I know people throw the word legend about, but obviously he's a legend in Holland and a legend in darts in general around the world. So to beat him was magnificent. And yeah, the money side of it, yeah, it's my biggest payday in darts, but that's not that important at the moment. It's more important to add that money into my rankings and see where it takes me.
Yeah, definitely. And since then, you've had a semi-final in a Super Series. We've just had the third one in Germany. As someone who is working as well as playing on the tour, do you prefer the current setup with the 4-day blocks, or would you prefer it to go back to the old with the Saturdays and Sundays and 2 events a weekend?
That's a difficult one to answer, because I haven't done the weekend events, but because I've got a job, obviously, as you said, I think the blocks of 4 fit, and if I can work my job and my time off around the blocks of 4, sort of basically 6 days for me with a day travelling either side, I think it works okay. I think Germany was hard. The ones in the UK have been okay, but Germany was a bit of a slog. The last 2 days, it felt really long, and because you can't go anywhere, you can't even go out the hotel grounds, it was quite hard. And I think you maybe notice that in a few players, the last couple of days, they maybe drift off or just don't perform as well. But I like the blocks of 4. I'm not sure how the PDC are going to do it when it comes back, but I think it works okay, and I think the players quite like it. So maybe it's here to stay. Who knows? It frees up time for other things. So yeah, I'm a fan. I quite like the blocks.
Well, we've got at least 2 more coming up in a couple of months, but looking further ahead, you're well in the mix for the 2 end-of-season majors, the Players' Championship finals, the big one, the World Championship. What would it mean to you to qualify for the Worlds and make your debut at Ali Pali?
Yeah, I think when you look at the stats and the rankings and things like that, and what's qualified you for Ali Pali before from the Pro Tour Order of Merit, yeah, I'm safe to say I'm right in the mix for that. And we've got more tournaments to come that I can add to that, just to guarantee that I will be there. So, yeah, I think Ali Pali will be pretty special. I'd really hope that we are quite far out of the pandemic by then and we can have crowds back. I know it's been talked about the middle of the year, July, sort of Blackpool possibly having fans back. So I would love it if I could play in the Players' Championship and I can play at Ali Pali at the end of the year with crowds. That would just sort of top off a pretty flawless sort of first year on the PDC circuit. It's been great so far, but we're only a couple of months in. But I'd love to build on the Super Series performances and do well in Milton Keynes and Bolton in the next couple of months, and just sort of maybe dip my toe in the water to qualify for a few other events. Let's see.
Fingers crossed for that. Well, earlier you did mention that you are 43. I didn't want to jinx it for you, but your fellow Scot Peter Wright made his big breakthrough in the PDC at the age of 43 with a run to the world final. Wikipedia says you're still 43 when we turn the page on 2021. How high have you set the bar for your first year in the PDC? Are you still rolling with it event by event and seeing where it takes you?
Yeah, to get to a world final would be something a bit insane. I think at this early stage, I think I'm still a bit wet behind the ears in the PDC, and I've still got to learn quite a bit. I know I've played darts for a long time, but yeah, just to have I do now think more about darts and about as a career and where it can take me, and I'm starting to get my eyes opened up to the machine that is the PDC. So I think going forward, to play at Ali Pali would be fantastic. As far as results and how far you get, then that's an on-the-day thing, and we have to just take the draw as it comes and see how we do. But yeah, going into 2022, the main goal is to be in the top 64 and keep my card, and then we can maybe start planning for what ifs and can we take this further and can we do it as a career and things like that. But yeah, it's been a dream start, and Germany I didn't perform as well as I can, so I don't want to take my foot off the gas. I'm going to practice a lot more than I have done ever in my life, so hopefully that holds me in good stead going forward.
Well, lastly, before we let you go away from the PDC, we should give a mention to the fantastic work you do for darts back home with the Angus Darts Academy you helped set up in 2012. How proud are you of what the academy has achieved in these last 9 years? Yeah,
that's something that I think it's something because I played darts all my life, and I was a youth player as well back in the day, a long time ago. But I think I've had help all through my darts career, so why not help kids get involved in the sport? And I'm lucky that my job in the fire service and time off, I've been able to dedicate the last sort of 9-10 years of my life to the youth setup. So it's been very interesting. It's been very rewarding. And to see some of the kids go on to play for Scotland, and Nathan Girvan signed for Target Darts and become a bit of a youth icon in Scotland, it's really cool. And it's something that I'll always have in my CV, and I think it's something I'll always do. I think even being a PDC pro, and even if I'd done it full time, I still think I would find time to maintain the Darts Academy and give these guys chances for the rest of their life as well.
Great to hear. Well, keep up the great work that you're doing with that, and congratulations on getting your tour card at Q School and the great start that you've had to the year. And we'll let you go and get your ice cream, because I think that's the ice cream van I can hear in the background.
I was just laughing about that. It's time for an ice cream, so I'm off for a 99.
Excellent. And thanks very much for the time. We do appreciate it, and all the best for the rest of the year.
Cheers, Alex. Thank you. Thanks.